Hello, my dear. I'm truly so glad you're here. Even though I know your heart may be heavy today, when your husband passes away, the world doesn't just feel different. It is different. The silence grows heavier. The simplest tasks feel overwhelming. And somehow, even in the midst of your grief, the world expects you to make life altering decisions almost overnight. But you don't have to walk this alone. Today, I'll gently guide you through 6 common mistakes many widows make, and more importantly, how you can protect your heart, your future, and your peace. Let me tell you about Nancy. Nancy was 70 years old when her husband of 45 years passed away. Their life had been filled with ordinary days, gardening together, Sunday brunches, quiet evenings in their favorite chairs, and then suddenly, the world she knew disappeared. In the fog of grief, Nancy made quick decisions. She sold their home. She signed papers she barely read. She loaned money she couldn't afford to lose. At the time, it felt like survival, just doing what needed to be done to keep moving. But months later, when the fog began to lift, the regrets crept in. She realized she had made choices not from wisdom, but from heartbreak and exhaustion. And here's the truth, my dear. No one warned her. No one gave her permission to slow down. Today, I'm here to give you that permission to breathe, to wait, to protect the life and the love you and your husband built so carefully, so beautifully. Mistake 1, not updating legal. My dear, if there is one lesson I have seen time and time again in my years walking beside widows through their journeys of loss and rebuilding, it is this: the quiet, almost invisible mistake of not updating legal documents and beneficiary information can cause a lifetime of heartbreak if left unattended. I know how impossible it feels. I truly do. After losing the person who shared your bed, your table, your dreams, the thought of sitting at a cold desk, signing papers, and thinking about legal matters can seem not only cold, but almost cruel. You are barely holding yourself together through the fog of grief. How could you possibly care about paperwork? But here's what so many women, smart and loving women just like you, have discovered too late. If you don't take a small amount of time now, while you are still strong enough to decide, you may unintentionally leave a trail of confusion and hurt behind you that could undo everything you and your husband built with so much love and sacrifice. I have seen it unfold with heartbreaking regularity. A beautiful woman, widowed and overwhelmed, leaves her husband's name on her accounts, never revises an outdated will written decades ago, never updates life insurance beneficiaries that no longer reflect her current reality. And when the unexpected happens to her, as it inevitably does for all of us, the house she lived in, the savings they worked so hard for, even the precious heirlooms intended for children or grandchildren, all become trapped in a web of legal disputes. Families fracture under the weight of arguments that never needed to happen. And sometimes, worst of all, assets pass to estranged relatives, former in-laws, or even the state government, people her husband would never have wanted to touch a single penny of their shared life. You may think, oh, my children love each other. They would never fight. Sweetheart, I have seen even the closest families crumble when the map was unclear, when grief and uncertainty mixed with money and fear. And that is why, with all the tenderness in my heart, I am urging you to set aside just one calm afternoon, an afternoon with someone you trust deeply, whether that is a wise friend, a thoughtful advisor, or an attorney who listens more than they speak. Pull out every important piece of paper, your will, your power of attorney, every insurance policy, every savings account, every deed, every retirement fund. Look at each name, each instruction through the clear lens of today, not the misty memories of decades past. Ask yourself, gently but firmly, if something happened to me tomorrow, would this still reflect what I truly want today? And if the answer is no, Take the steps to make it right. Change the names. Clarify your wishes. Put your house in order not because you are cold or heartless, but because you are wise, because you are strong enough to protect the life you and your husband built so carefully, so lovingly. It will not erase your grief. It will not make the silence in your home any less deep, but it will grant you a peace of mind that your future and the futures of those you love will not be tangled in confusion or regret. You are not dishonoring your husband by making these changes. You are carrying his care forward, wrapping yourself and your family in the security and dignity you both worked so hard to create. So please, my dear, take that one afternoon. Sit in the sunshine if you can. Make a cup of tea. Gather your documents, your courage, and your heart. Protect your wishes before confusion can steal them. Mistake 2, taking insurance payout all at once. My dear, let's talk about something that looks harmless, even comforting, but can quietly dismantle your future if you aren't prepared. That large insurance or pension payout check you may receive after your husband's passing. When that envelope arrives in the mail or the bank calls to confirm the deposit, it can feel like a sudden, unexpected lifeline in the middle of your storm. There it is, the fruits of decades of careful planning, hard work, love, and provision. Maybe it's $50,000 or $100,000 or even more. And for just a moment, you breathe a little easier. You think, maybe I'll be okay after all. And sweetheart, you deserve that breath. You deserve every moment of security and comfort. But here's the truth. The world rarely whispers to grieving hearts. That check isn't a windfall. It's not extra money. It is a replacement for the paychecks that will never come again. It is a bridge meant to stretch across years, even decades, not just a season. It was designed not to make you rich today, but to protect you quietly, month after month, year after year, through the gentle unfolding of the life you still have ahead of you. I have seen so many beautiful women, worn thin by grief and exhaustion, unintentionally spend down their lifeline too quickly. At first, it feels natural. You buy a few comforts, perhaps you treat your family, maybe you fix something in the house, or finally take that trip you and your husband had talked about. Maybe you say yes when friends or relatives ask for a little help, a small loan, a co-signed document. The heart, aching and lonely, tries to fill the empty spaces with generosity, with action, with hope. But the truth is, grief makes our vision blurry. And without a plan, that check, that precious symbol of your husband's lasting care, can melt away far faster than you ever imagined. And when it's gone, my dear, there is no more coming. That's why I am asking you today, slow down, protect your breathing room. You are not required to cash that payout in one lump sum. You have choices that many don't even realize are available. You can request that the payout be spread out over time through structured payments, annuities, or monthly deposits, creating a steady, predictable foundation that gives you space to grieve, to heal, and to plan wisely. You can sit with a trusted financial advisor, someone with no agenda other than your protection, and build a safety net that carries you forward gently, without sudden shocks or painful regrets. Taking it slow is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is strength in its truest form, the quiet strength of a woman who honors her future as much as she honors her past. If the phone starts ringing with offers to help you invest, if family members begin dreaming out loud about what you could do with all that money, if friends suggest extravagant plans, take a deep breath, smile kindly, and remember, this money is not for making others happy. It is for keeping you safe, secure, and free. Treat it with the same tenderness you would if your husband were still standing beside you saying, "Take care of yourself, my love." Because in many ways, that's exactly what he did. And now it's your turn to continue that care, bravely, wisely, and beautifully. Mistake 3: giving away money or co signing loans. My dear, I want to share with you a story, one that has echoed in my heart for many years because it speaks so deeply to the quiet risks that come when love meets loneliness. Her name was Evelyn. She was 72, newly widowed after 50 years of marriage to her high school sweetheart. Their life had been simple, steady, and filled with the kind of everyday love that weaves itself into the very walls of a home. Shared breakfasts, whispered jokes, quiet pride in children and grandchildren. After her husband's passing, the house felt unbearably silent. The days stretched endlessly ahead, heavy with memories. The phone, once filled with laughter and plans, rang less and less. And Evelyn, who had spent her whole life pouring care into others, found herself aching to feel needed again. So when her grandson called, some excited, full of dreams, and asked her to co-sign a loan for his new business idea, her heart leapt. Here was purpose. Here was connection. Here was a chance to help someone she loved move forward in life. Without hesitation, without reading all the fine print, without asking the hard questions her husband might have asked, Evelyn said yes. Because that's what love does, isn't it? It says yes. For a while, everything seemed fine. Her grandson sent thank you notes. He visited more often. She felt needed again. But dreams don't always unfold the way we hope. The business struggled. Payments were missed. And then the letters began to arrive. Formal, frightening letters with legal warnings. Because Evelyn's signature was on that loan, the debt became hers. The creditors didn't go after the young man full of dreams. They came after the grandmother who had said yes out of love. The bank called in the loan. Her modest home, the place where she had built a lifetime of memories, was now collateral. And in a matter of months, Evelyn found herself selling the house she had shared with her husband, moving into a small apartment she could barely afford, carrying not just financial loss, but a grief made sharper by betrayal and regret. Sweetheart, I share Evelyn's story not to scare you, but to honor her, and to offer you a shield she didn't have. Love wisely. Protect what you and your husband built with decades of love and sacrifice. It is natural after loss to crave connection. It is human to want to ease the burdens of those we love. But I beg you, from the deepest place of care, do not let loneliness or guilt or longing lead you into financial decisions that put your future at risk. When you co-sign a loan, you are not just offering emotional support, you are legally taking full responsibility. If the borrower stumbles and life is unpredictable, it is you, not them, that creditors will pursue. It is your credit that will be damaged. It is your savings that will be drained. It is your home, your peace, your security that could slip quietly through your fingers. And the same is true for large gifts and loans. It feels beautiful to give, but when giving leaves you vulnerable, when generosity empties your cup beyond what you can refill, it is no longer love. It is sacrifice without wisdom. Your husband spent decades building a foundation with you, a home, a nest egg, a legacy of careful stewardship. You honor that love not by giving it away lightly, but by protecting it fiercely, not just for yourself, but for the generations to come. Before you sign anything, before you loan large amounts, before you say yes to something that tugs at your heartstrings, pause. Take a deep breath. Talk to someone you trust, a neutral advisor, a wise friend. Ask the hard questions. Protect your future first so that you remain strong enough to help others when, and if, it is truly safe to do so. Love your family, yes. Support your grandchildren, yes. But do it from a place of strength, not desperation. Generosity born of wisdom lasts far longer than generosity born of fear. And if you ever wonder what the right decision is, ask yourself this. If my husband were still standing beside me, Would he nod and smile at this choice, knowing it kept me safe? I think in your heart, you will always know the answer, and you will find the strength to say yes or no with love and with wisdom. Mistake 4, rushing to sell the house. My dear, let's talk about one of the most tender mistakes so many women make after losing their beloved, the decision to sell the house too soon. In the earliest days of grief, when every hallway echoes with his absence, when every chair still holds the faint shape of his memory, when the air itself feels too heavy to breathe, the house can start to feel unbearable. Every familiar corner cuts deep. Every familiar smell aches inside your chest. Grief, raw and overwhelming, begins to whisper that maybe, just maybe, if you leave these walls behind, you might leave a piece of the pain behind too. I understand that urge more deeply than you know. When the one you shared a life with is no longer by your side, home can feel like both a sanctuary and a prison. The silence is louder. The spaces are emptier. And well-meaning friends, family, even advisors will often suggest the same thing. You don't need all this space anymore. It'll be easier somewhere smaller. It's time to start fresh. But sweetheart, listen closely. Grief tells you to run. Healing asks you to pause. Selling your home, the sacred space where love grew, where laughter echoed, where dreams were planted and nurtured, is one of the most permanent decisions you can make. And if you make it too soon, while the wound is still wide open, you may find yourself trading one kind of heartache for another. I have seen it happen again and again. A woman eager to outrun her sorrow signs the papers, hands over the keys, steps into a smaller apartment or a distant condo, and only then realizes that she didn't leave her grief behind. She packed it with her, and now, along with the weight of loss, she carries the regret of having let go of something irreplaceable. A home, a history, a part of her life that could never truly be duplicated. That's why, if you hear nothing else today, please hear this. Give yourself a year, a full cycle of seasons, a chance for the rawness to soften, for the fog to lift, for your heart to begin finding a new rhythm without the pressure of irreversible choices. Let clarity, not heartbreak, make the decision. During that year, allow yourself to change small things if you must. Move furniture around. Repaint a room in a color that feels more like you now. Create a garden in his memory. Find ways to honor both your grief and your growing strength without tearing away the roots that still nourish you. You are not weak for wanting to stay. You are not trapped by choosing to wait. You are giving yourself and the love you shared it the respect it deserves. Later, when you are ready, if you still feel the call to move, you will do so from a place of peace, with clear eyes and a steady heart. You will sell not to escape, but to step forward. You will choose a new home not because you are fleeing sadness, but because you are embracing the next chapter of your beautiful life. But today, and for many days yet to come, it is more than enough simply to stay, to breathe in these walls, to sit in the quiet without rushing to change it, to let healing find you right where you are. Because, sweet friend, healing does come. Not all at once, not easily, but it comes like slow, steady, and sure. And when it does, you'll be grateful you gave it space to grow. Mistake 5, trusting the wrong people. My dear, after loss, when the world feels unfamiliar and your heart is still learning how to beat in its new rhythm, you will notice that certain faces begin to appear. Some familiar, some new, all offering smiles, advice, and sometimes promises that feel too easy to believe. In those first vulnerable months, when loneliness and confusion blur the sharp edges of caution you once held, it is natural, almost inevitable, to want someone to step in, to guide you, to say, Let me help carry this burden for you. And some will mean it sincerely, with hearts as kind as their words. But others, my dear, will not. And it is precisely because you are grieving, because you are tired, because you long for steady ground again, that you must be even more careful than you have ever been before. Not everyone who smiles has your best interest at heart. Not every friendly neighbor, helpful advisor, or distant cousin reaching out after years of silence is motivated purely by love or loyalty. I have watched too many widows, wise, caring, trusting, hand over control of their finances, their properties, their futures to people they believed were trustworthy, only to find themselves trapped in betrayal when it was too late to undo the damage. Sometimes it happens quietly. A signature here, a small favor there, a whispered suggestion to invest quickly before the opportunity disappears. Sometimes it happens under the guise of family love. Mom, let me handle it for you. Or, Grandma, don't worry, I know what's best. And each time, what is lost is not just money or paperwork. It is dignity, safety, the ability to make choices freely and live the life you and your husband planned together so carefully. That is why today, with all the gentleness my voice can hold, I am asking you to remember this. Move slowly. Check credentials. Trust, but verify. When someone offers to help manage your finances, to sell your home, to invest your insurance payout, to handle things so you don't have to worry, pause. Smile warmly, but do not rush. Ask for everything in writing. Research their background. Ask for second and third opinions from professionals who have no stake in the outcome. Take your time. If they truly have your best interest at heart, they will not pressure you. They will not grow impatient. They will not demand blind trust. Real love, real respect, real support. These things wait patiently for your readiness. And if ever your instincts whisper discomfort, even faintly, honor that feeling. You are not being rude. You are not being difficult. You are protecting the life you and your husband spent years, decades weaving together with quiet, determined love. The money, the home, the investments, they are more than numbers or assets. They are the tangible proof of a life built with care, sacrifice, and shared dreams. And now they are yours to protect. Not just for yourself, but for the generations who look up to you as an example of strength, wisdom, and quiet courage. So when the world feels overwhelming, when choices pile high, when help feels tempting and easy, slow down. Take a breath, gather your advisors carefully. Move forward only when your heart feels steady and your mind feels clear, because you, my dear, are worth protecting. Your future is worth guarding. And your story, still beautiful, still unfolding, deserves to be written not by the careless hands of others, but by your own, steady and wise. The mistake 6, isolating yourself. My dear, grief has a way of convincing us that solitude is safety, that silence is comfort. At first, when the phone stops ringing and the visitors go home, the quiet feels like a blessing, a cocoon where no one demands anything from you, where you don't have to pretend to be stronger than you feel. But over time, that quiet changes. It thickens. It presses against your chest. It whispers lies no one understands. You're alone in this now. It's easier not to reach out. And without meaning to, you begin to build walls instead of bridges. You decline invitations. You let calls go to voicemail. You tell yourself, maybe next week, until the weeks pile up into seasons. But my dear, please hear me gently. Grief grows heavier in silence. Connection lightens it. You were never meant to carry this alone. Human hearts are stitched to one another for a reason. We heal in presence, not in isolation. Your friends, your family, even acquaintances who seem to circle on the edges of your life, they are waiting. They are hoping. They are reaching out even when you cannot see it clearly through the fog of sorrow. You do not have to meet them with laughter or with perfect words. You only have to meet them as you are, tired, hurting, still finding your way. So today, consider this small, brave act of healing. Answer that phone call. Say yes to that coffee invitation. Take a slow walk with a neighbor. Sit in the back pew at church just to listen. Not because it will erase your sadness, but because it will remind you you are still here. You are still loved. You are still seen. Grief is real, but so is love. So is laughter shared over steaming cups of coffee. So is the quiet comfort of a friend who holds your hand without asking you to explain. You deserve all of it, even now, especially now. My dear, today we've walked gently through 6 mistakes that too many widows make, not because they were careless, but because no one ever told them how to move through this chapter with wisdom and grace. By avoiding these mistakes, you protect more than just your bank account. You protect your dignity, your heart, your beautiful, still unfolding future. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. Your story is not over. It's just beginning a new chapter. A chapter filled with strength, resilience, and yes, even new kinds of joy waiting quietly ahead. If this conversation touched your heart, please tap that like button. It helps more women find their way to this gentle space. Share in the comments. What is one piece of advice your husband gave you that still lives in your heart? And if you know another woman walking through this valley, share this video with her. Because sometimes the smallest acts of kindness are the ones that save us.